Everything was rolling along for the Phillies on another home opener filled with pageantry and pizzazz. Those who came to see the new version of their Phils were rewarded early and often. That's when things began to tumble and slide in the other direction. The visitors from the AL responded with an unlucky, unanswered 13. And in the end, it was a victory for the Royals with ease. Let's face it, there's not a better sight in a ballpark all around the country than Ashburn Alley here in Philadelphia. The fans are getting ready for game number 2 against the Kansas City Royals. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Chris Wheeler. Yesterday, the Phils were in total control of the ball game, even through the 5th inning after Kyle Kendrick had allowed 2 runs. It was 4-2, and then all of a sudden, an explosion by the Kansas City Royals.
And that game did seem under control. Tom, it was like 2 different games were played here yesterday. The Phillies won the first one, and then they got smoked in the second game of that doubleheader. And, wow, here's where it really broke open right here. The triple to right center field by Alex Gordon off Jeremy Horst, scored 3 runs, put them ahead, and that would be it for the game, really, because then they just kept adding on. How many times do you see 2 3-run triples in a ball game? Not very often. Of course, Dominic Brown hopefully knows on that play he has to block that ball and not let it get by him at that point in the game. But the Royals, they are a team that just tore it up in spring training. They got off to a little bit of a slow start in Chicago, where it was really cold, evidently, in those games, and they certainly made up for it in one game here in this ballpark with 2 to go. So you cannot take this team lightly. They can swing the bat. Now, they have a different lineup tonight. They have an all left-handed hitting bench. They're going to get some right-handers out there tonight.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because yesterday was a lot about the offense. You know, the Phillies scored those 4 runs on 9 hits very early, but nothing afterward, whereas the Royals went to work offensively, and they also went to work in the bullpen yesterday. It was surprising how good they were out of the bullpen.
Well, they think they're going to be pretty good in their bullpen because of the fact they have so many bullets out there. They have everybody except for Bruce Chen throws in the mid to high 90s. You bring those kind of guys in, you can have a lot of innings where nothing happens. Nothing really happened for the Phillies. They had 1 base runner, and that was on a walk. And you see what the bullpen was able to do. Here's Bruce Chen, the former Philly. He came in and pitched a terrific inning. They took the lead after he came out of the ball game, so he wound up the winner. Then Gutierrez came in. He's another bullet thrower. And this kid Collins, a left-hander we had never seen before, he was throwing it by people. And they didn't even get to some of the guys later on who are really hard throwers. So the Kansas City Royals look like a team, if they can get ahead of you, they maybe can close out games too. It'll probably come down to their starting pitching.
Well, and Charlie Manuel talked today not only about the bullpen but also about the offense. He said, listen, we're getting base runners. 5 for 26, though, with runners in scoring position so far. He said it's time to get going, no time to panic, but it's time for the offense to get going on a consistent basis. Well, tonight it'll be John Lannan making his Phillies debut. He'll be opposed by Luis Mendoza, who beat Bruce Chen out for the 5th spot in this rotation. The lineup's at first pitch when we come back. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. By Xfinity, the official HD triple play provider of your Phillies. By Citizens Bank, where good banking is good citizenship. Isn't it time you experience good banking? And by Independence Blue Cross. We're creating a more coordinated healthcare system that is built around you. Independence Blue Cross, changing the game. Chorus singing tonight's national anthem. It's Kids Opening Night, brought to you by Turkey Hill as the Phillies take on the Kansas City Royals. John Ladden has finished up his warm-up tosses, and he is ready to go, making his Phillies debut. Let's take a look at the Royals lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. It'll be Gordon, Escobar, and Butler who makes the start over at first base. Salvador Perez, Kane, and Francoeur. And the bottom third of Miguel Tejada, Elliott Johnson, and then Luis Mendoza, who will be the starting pitcher tonight against left-hander John Ladden, the 28-year-old from Mineola, New York. Yeah, last year pitched for the Nationals and now pitching for the Phils.
And this is the only left-hander he's going to face, Tom. They have an all right-handed hitting lineup and a left-handed bench tonight.
Well, the first pitch is taken low, so we're underway. Let's take a look at Ladden's numbers from a season ago.
Yeah, he pitched at AAA for the most part last year because the Nationals didn't have room for him in their rotation.
Last year at AAA, he was 9-11 with an earned run average of 4.30. And that's the John Ladden that we're used to seeing with the Washington Nationals.
Yeah, it's fastball. That's what it was, 86 to 89. We'll see what he does here tonight. Slider, change, curveball. He likes to throw his fastball, and he's a ground ball pitcher. When he's on, he'll get a lot of ground balls. And he's one of those guys not going to strike out a lot of hitters. He's not going to walk a lot. He wants to get you out quick.
Charlie Manuel said the one thing that he learned about John Ladden, not only that he's quiet, he's professional, but he also studies the game. And he's learned to love to pitch, particularly in the big leagues. A little high with that fastball, 2-2.
Well, that's where he made his major league debut, right in this park.
Alex Gordon last night, or I should say yesterday, was 3 for 6 with 2 runs scored and 3 RBIs. So a number's pretty lofty right now at 353. Swing and a miss, and there's the first out of the day.
Threw him off fastballs and then came off speed there. It looked like a breaking ball of some kind and struck him out with it. There's a look. That's like a slider grip, slider or cutter, and it just went away from him at the last second and really fooled him.
So Gordon's retired. It'll bring Escobar to the plate. Escobar was 2 for 5 in yesterday's ball game. Overall hitting .294 with 1 home run and 2 runs batted in. And that home run came in yesterday's game. Escobar had a pretty good spring for the Royals. He hit .290, did not have a home run. Now that's a pretty good spring, but it paled in comparison to some of the numbers that his teammates put up in spring training.
They weren't surprised yesterday, Ned Yost, their manager, that they threw up a number like that, because offensively, on paper, they could cause a lot of damage, and they did.
1 ball, 1 strike the count. Inside, 2-1.
And that was the only homer, the one you just mentioned, Tom, by Escobar, and that came in the 9th inning. But they did have 2 bases clearing triples. Ouch.
There's something soft, and it's 2-2 to Escobar.
Ladden's learned to come inside and throw his cutter or slider inside, and then he has a good changeup. He'll mostly throw to right-handed hitters, and you saw one there.
Ground ball left side. The hop stayed down on Michael Young, and he throws across the diamond for the second out.
That was a great shot from behind there. You can see him go into his changeup grip, more like a circle change, and got another out. Time now for our Nissan Keys to tonight's game. Chilly night here, not much wind, and that's going to help. Well, Phillies need to play all 9 innings. Charlie was talking about that before the game. Played 4 or 5 yesterday, and then that was it. Kansas City, an all left-handed hitting bench, so we'll keep that in mind as the game goes along.
Yeah, Ned Yost said before the ball game when he was asked about sitting some of the guys who had good days yesterday, like Chris Getz, and Eric Hosmer, and Mike Moustakas, he said, listen, I have to be confident in everybody that I have on the bench, in the lineup. And they also wanted to get this guy into the lineup tonight. He's playing first base tonight for Hosmer. That's Billy Butler.
Yeah, Butler will be like we mentioned yesterday, Ortiz, when the Red Sox would come in here and they would put him at first base, try to get a lead, and then get him out of there. And I'm sure they'll do that tonight. If in fact they could get the lead, they'd want to get Butler out. Off to a slow start, but this guy's got a lot of power.
Out in front of the changeup, it's 2-1. Butler last year hit .313 with 29 home runs and 107 RBIs. Major League Baseball now has what they call the Edgar Martinez Awards for the best designated hitter. in baseball, and Billy Butler won that award. Back toward the middle, off the mound. Nice hop for Chase Utley, and a very nice top of the first inning for John Ladden. A strikeout and 2 groundouts. Middle of the first, it's the Royals nothing and the Phillies offense getting their first shot. For the first, let's take a look at Charlie's lineup for tonight. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Leading it off at center field, Ben Revere, then Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley. Ryan Howard's over at first base. He'll hit cleanup. Michael Young is at third base. He'll bat fifth. Dominic Brown hits sixth. John Mayberry makes the start in right field. He'll bat seventh. Humberto Quintero makes his first start of the year. He'll bat eighth and do the catching. And John Ladden will hit ninth. And they'll face 29-year-old right-hander Luis Mendoza, who, if he has as good an offseason, or has as good a season as he had in the offseason, well, then the Royals are going to be pretty happy with him.
Yeah, he pitched a lot in winter ball and then the World Baseball Classic. There, the numbers last year did pretty well as the season went along. He's a big guy, too, 6'3", 243. He's 29 out of Veracruz, Mexico. Scouting report on him, that's his fastball. It'll go slider, curveball, changeup. He pitched winter ball and was the MVP in the Caribbean World Series for Mexico, who won that. And then, of course, he pitched in the World Baseball Classic for Mexico.
He had a no-hitter through 7 innings in one game for Mexico in the Caribbean World Series. They were a little concerned about the number of pitches he threw just before he arrived in spring training, but even after going to the World Baseball Classic, he didn't seem to be tired at all. Ben Revere leads it off for the Phillies, and Revere takes a pitch at the knees for a strike.
If there was ever a pitcher came to spring training ahead of the hitters, it should have been this guy.
Revere 3 for 18 on the season. And he slaps it foul, and he's in the hole 0-2.
Still hasn't bunted a whole lot early here in the season, but he gets the respect of the two teams seen so far, with the first baseman, third baseman way up until there are 2 strikes the way there are now.
In fact, Miguel Tejada's trying to figure out where to go. He was back behind the bag. Now they brought him in even with the bag. Back toward the middle, and then Escobar, who was playing shallow at short, makes the play, 1 away.
Took a nice hop for him, too. That ball stays down. It's a lot tougher play, and those are the kind Revere has a chance to beat out. But when it takes that big old hop, infielders go, oh, thank you. Watch this sweet hop. That's perfect. Now he can come across, take a little crow hop, throw him out, and not worry about his speed.
Oh, it's 1 away. Jimmy Rollins is the batter. Big night for Jimmy Rollins. Tonight is kids opening night, as we told you. It's sponsored by Turkey Hill. And all fans 14 and under came to the ballpark tonight, and they received a replica of Jimmy Rollins' gold glove, which they presented him with before the ball game. Swing and a miss. 0-2.
That is demonstrative. Did you see him on a pitch?
He wasn't happy.
On that first pitch, it was a breaking ball he thought was high, and he hardly ever shows any emotion towards umpires. And he didn't look at Kellogg. He just walked away.
Jeff Kellogg, the crew chief, is behind the plate. Eric Cooper at first. Paul Schreiber at second. And Chad Fairchild around at third. Rollins taps it foul. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Carla Lusner of Cape May Courthouse. Phillies hit a home run in tonight's ball game, and Carla will win $100. Swing and a miss, 2 outs.
Threw him a lot of breaking balls in that at bat too. Looked like sliders, maybe one curveball. Got him out with a slider there. Pretty good bite on this, trying to throw a back foot breaking ball, and that's a tremendous pitch for right-hander or left-handed hitter, because they're either going to hit it foul or swing and miss it.
Well, it's been a good start to the season for Chase Utley. He's tied for first in the league in runs batted in with 6. Overall hitting .467. He's 7 for 15. And he takes a sinker outside. It's 1-0. And that is the fastball that Mendoza will throw. It is a sinker. He likes his ground balls. We said it's kids opening night, and there's Daniel from Cohatsink Recreation, 12-year-old, who drew up a picture of Chase Utley, sent it in, and there you go. It's a lot of detail for a kid to put in a picture.
It's really good. Couldn't draw anything. Stick figure, struggle with that. That's talent to see something like that.
Being able to draw a stick figure enables you now to use the telestrator.
Yeah.
Utley sends it in the air to left field. Backing up on it is Gordon to the wall, and he has room. And he makes the catch for the final out. Phillies go down in order here in the bottom of the first, so we've completed one. It's the Royals nothing and the Phillies nothing. We'll be back after this. '15 and older will receive the McDonald's opening week T-shirt. In fact, it's a 3-game series. There are tickets available for all 3 ball games. You can go to Phillies.com to purchase your tickets. It includes Tuesday's Hatfield Dollar Dog Night at the ballpark. On to the top of the second we go. Salvador Perez will be the batter for the Royals. Perez was 1 for 6 in yesterday's ball game with a run scored.
A nice job of handling all those pitchers. They had a little problem early in the game. Davis probably threw too many fastballs. They tried to change that a little bit, but by that point the Phillies had thrown some runs up.
You have to give Davis some credit, though. He did work that 1, 2, 3, 4th inning, as strange as that sounds, because the Phillies were hitting him all over the place, and basically they had shut it down offensively the inning before.
Yeah, he got out of the inning before too with a couple men on base, where it could have really gotten ugly for him.
Yeah, Charlie Emanuel talked today. He said, there were a number of spots in the ball game that were problematic. He knows that Kyle Kendrick wanted to stay in the game in the 6th inning. He felt like he had done everything he could and wanted to go to the bullpen, felt it was time to do that. He also felt that the 2 double plays the Phillies hit into early in the game, were a big deal because it slowed what was a pretty good offensive day at that point.
Yeah, they made a couple mistakes on defense too. There weren't scored errors, and that's the thing they would try to so hard to do during spring training was to play better for 9 innings, and they didn't yesterday.
1-2 the count to Perez, and just off the outside corner, and it's 2-2.
Really got these guys lunging and off balance here early, very early in this game. But so far so good for John Lannan. Just to watch the way he's changing speeds and the swings that they're getting at him. He has their timing off, and that's what pitching is.
Breaking ball. Did he go? Yes, he did. And Salvador Perez doesn't even bother to go up the first base line, so Quintero doesn't have to tag him. Once he leaves the circle, he is officially out on that strikeout.
Yeah, his intent was to go to the dugout.
Yeah, 2 outs, 1 out, 2 strikeouts for Lannan. Let's check in with Murph. Murph?
All right, guys. Well, in talking with John Lannan and talking about John Lannan, he spent most of the season last year down in the minor leagues. Went 4-1 for the Nationals last year with an ERA just over 4. But he said, it makes him pitch with a chip on his shoulder nowadays because he wanted to get back into the big leagues. And when the Phillies were in the market for a number 5 starter, well, they looked at the numbers against the rest of the National League. He was 38 and 39 against the Phillies, just 3 and 13. So Phillies fans remember that. But he was very effective against pretty much everybody else in the National League. So when in the market for a 5th starter, they hope that John Lannan could fill the bill, guys.
Yeah, he was 0-11, I think it was, before he picked up his first victory against the Phillies. So, 3-1 against them, or 3-2 against them in his last handful of starts. Charlie said that Lannan surprised him by how much video he looks at, how much he wants to compete. And he said he also has learned to pitch down in the strike zone better now than he did early on in his career. He said he's just become a better pitcher. He said, now what does that equate to? He said, we'll see.
Well, anytime you're not a hard thrower, and you're a left-hander especially, you can pitch down the zone and the ball. You ever play catch with a left-hander who could throw a ball straight? And it just moves. And he's able to do those kind of things and keep the ball down and away to right-handed hitters and cut it inside enough to get him off the plate, and that's when he's effective. That guy right there, he's a master of those things.
Ground ball right side. So he is getting the ground balls tonight. Utley throws out Jeff Francoeur. 4 ground outs so far for Lannan. 6 up, 6 down. We go to the bottom of the 2nd. Ryan Howard will lead it off for the Phillies. Turkey Hill kids opening night here at the ballpark. Oh, we had some kids throwing out the first pitch tonight. That's Brandon Miller from Northwestern Lehigh High School in New Tripoli, Pennsylvania. He got a chance, thanks to the folks at Turkey Hill, to throw out the first pitch. And then also Andy McKay Levine, a 9-year-old from the Children's Village in Philadelphia. He threw a strike on his first pitch attempt. So congratulations to those youngsters getting a chance to be part of the festivities. And the Fanatic, of course, giving a hug to Mary Graham. She's part of the Children's Village program. Had some kids who were doing the starting lineups tonight down on the field with Dan Baker. As Ryan Howard fouls the first pitch away, it's 0-1. Howard 3 for 16 so far with 3 runs batted in, 2 runs batted in yesterday. Still in search of that first home run. And that ball got away. It's 1-1.
And they'll overshift him. Just leave the shortstop. Actually, that's Tejada, the third baseman, playing shortstop. And he played a lot of shortstop in his major league career.
Folks at the Royals say that he is like E.F. Hutton when it comes to the Latin players. They have a question, they go to him for the answer. So we get a miss, 2-2.
Oh, he's a lot of experience, and that's great. You have somebody like that. Latin American influence in this game is enormous, and to have a guy like that on your club that can do those things and contribute on the field, that's big.
Little low, 3-2 to Howard. Mendoza thought it was a strike.
Juan Samuel is a guy that a lot of Latin players come to as a confidant and for advice on things, and he's so good with them. He's so good with everybody.
Swing and a miss. 93-mile-an-hour sinker. And there's one away here in the second. Second strikeout for Mendoza. During the 2013 season, Turkey Hill will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. Michael Young 2 for 13 so far this year. Still looking for his first run scored. Still looking for his first RBI.
Well, the Phillies are not getting many extra base hits, and that's one of the reasons why it's kind of tough to score runs.
Well, also, their production with runners in scoring position has been pretty light.
Yeah.
They have just 5 hits with runners in scoring position so far in the first 4 games.
Right, and the singles can help a lot, but you know, you just get singles and walks, you're not going to score a lot of runs.
Back toward the middle. There's a single for Michael Young. First hit of the night for the Phillies. And it is career hit number 2,233 for Michael Young.
Here's Dominic Brown early in the game, got on top of a high fastball and hit it out of the ballpark. That's when this place was bathed in sunshine and jumping. And then it changed.
Pretty nice swing. Dominic Brown, who had 32 hits in spring training, now has 5 here in the regular season with a .333 average.
See some guys start shooting balls in the alleys, getting doubles, and all of a sudden your run production will increase dramatically.
Dirt, 1-1 the count.
That's a big catcher back there, and he moves around pretty well. That is a Dominic Brown, according to Gianna.
Gianna, a 10-year-old from Palmer Playground. Dominic is always smiling, so. He just got a piece of it, a little out in front. It's 1-2. left side. Escobar gets one, and that's all they'll get. Young went in hard at second base. It would have been tough to double up Dominic Brown anyway. Michael Young gobbled up Elliott Johnson. 6-4 on the putout at second, and 2 outs.
Yeah, where that play started, it's going to be tough for a double play, even though Escobar got rid of it quickly. Good job by Young to get in there and disrupt everything. They had a shot at it if Young didn't get a piece of him.
That'll bring John Mayberry to the plate. Mayberry with 7 at bats so far in this series against the Atlanta Braves. He's behind 0-1 as he takes a sinker at the knees. John Mayberry, whose father played 6 years with these Kansas City Royals. He had 143 home runs with the Royals alone. They picked him up from the Houston Astros. He had 3 different years with over 100 RBIs with the Kansas City Royals.
Our trivia question yesterday. Runner up to Fred Lynn for most valuable player.
Back in 1975.
Yeah. And he was Rookie of the Year that year. What do you think? No?
No, because he had been with the Astros for a couple of seasons.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I thought I saw where he was a Rookie of the Year. Strike that one. But that wasn't the quiz answer.
Over toward third, a foul ball.
We got the quiz right after you gave me a great hint.
Which the more I thought about it, it was too good of a hit.
It was a real good. Nice play by that guy.
It's a good thing he's got the shades on.
Yeah, reached over the tarp, shielded his eyes from the lights. This almost wasn't pretty. Right there, that's one of those.
He needs a bigger belt or a smaller belt.
Oh, there's our new telestrator. I thought, darn.
Wills found the X.
I was searching for it.
2-2 the count.
Run that again. I practiced a little bit again tonight.
What'd you figure out? Did you put lightning out? Did you figure out how to do that?
No, we're not going to do that. Well, only if we see it coming from Center City. I think it might put a little lightning up there. Not tonight.
No, tonight it's pretty clear.
Yeah, it's amazing
Cool
how calm it is right now, where the flags aren't even moving. Ooh. Guy's got a pretty good slider. Looks like he commands his fastball. He threw a heck of a sinker to Ryan Howard to strike him out. Look at the flags.
A light breeze. 52 degrees. It was so clear. There was unfortunately a fire out toward 95 that we could see the smoke pretty clearly earlier today. In the dirt, ball 4. 2 on with 2 outs now for the Phillies. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, well, there's a whole lot of offense being picked up in Cincinnati the last few days. The Nationals gave up a lead and then won the game in 11 innings. Jason Worth had 3 hits, including a home run, a double. He also picked up an RBI. Soriano blew his first save in a Nationals uniform.
Joey Votto almost hit a home run and then got the third on the play and then wound up scoring on a wild pitch to tie that game in the 9th inning. They only hit 6 last night, the Reds. Stat before today was they hit 6. That was more than 25 other major league teams have as a team total at this point, including the Phillies. 6 in one game.
It is a shooting gallery out there.
It is. You wouldn't think it in April, but.
Well, Todd Frazier hit one to left and hit one to right. Here's Alberto Quintero making his first start for the Phils.
Dan Herron did not have a good debut for the Nats.
Quintero spent 7 years with the Houston Astros. He was 9 for 30 during spring training.
It's a lot of balls to the right of second base. Unless you throw something slow like that, and then he'll pull it. Ryan Sandberg's trying to get Dominic Brown with a good walking lead off second. give him a chance to score him with 2 outs here. Quintero can get a base hit.
There's Eric Kratz, who started the first 4 games of the season. Asked Charlie today how he's thinking about using the catchers while Chooch is out. And he said, well, I may have Quintero catch Roy Halladay once in a while. He said, for the most part, it'll be Kratz that'll be out there, and then Quintero will catch, once, maybe twice a week, depending on, how Kratz is feeling and how he's swinging the bat.
Yeah, Eric's going to play tomorrow.
Carlos Ruiz is serving a 25-game suspension,
which is now down to 20 after this one.
Mendoza with 23 pitches this inning. He's at 34 for the ball game, so just 11 last inning.
And their bullpen, even though they had to throw some innings, they weren't overworked yesterday. They spread it out pretty well, and they didn't have any pressure. They didn't have much in the way of pressure innings to deal with. Very few base runners, like 1.
That was a walk to John Mayberry, and that was it. Up the third base line, foul.
Keeps throwing him sliders away, and that's the kind of pitch, if he can stay in there, that he'll hit the other way, and that's always been his strong point. So a lot of him in the National League. With Kansas City last year. He's pitching way away. If you're a hitter, you can almost sell out right now. The right-handed hitters, he didn't throw the ball in at all. You eliminate half a home plate and look away. Dixieland.
You hung a few bars for us?
No. Here's the setup. Here we go again.
2-2. And he does try to shoot it the other way.
Everything's out there. And after a while, you may as well look out there.
MLB.TV is celebrating 11 years. Join the millions of fans, including Wheels, and subscribe today. Watch every out-of-market game live online on your favorite mobile and connected devices in HD quality. Visit MLB.TV today. Baseball everywhere. 2 balls, 2 strikes, the count to Quintero. And he lofts it foul down the right field line and out of play.
Well, he's making him work. You see how far he stands off the plate. So if you're a pitcher out there, you got a lot to aim out away, and they certainly are doing that.
This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat. 5 foul balls for Quintero.
John Lannon on deck, not a good hitting pitcher.
He got him. A breaking ball, and Quintero is the 3rd strikeout victim of the night. Phillies lead 2. We go to the 3rd here at Citizens Bank Park. Phillies.com. Wheels, go to the fan section for all the information. Please submit your answer on the subject line. The question is, name the 3 Royals pitchers that have thrown no-hitters. The answer will be revealed in the 7th inning. Everybody trying to keep warm tonight. Without the breeze, without the wind, it's not that bad of a night out there.
It's better.
Yep. Enjoying the music, and they just did a segment of Ask the Phillies, which they've done for years, and they're funny. Some are funnier than others. And the players were asked, who would you want to have a sit down with? Go back in history, who would you want to have a sit down with? And John Lannon, some folks said Abraham Lincoln, some folks said Jackie Robinson, some said George Washington. Cole Hamels said Alexander the Great. John Lannon, did you see who he said? He said Howard Stern. John Lannon would like to have a sit down with Howard Stern. Wills.
He is a left-hander.
Miguel Tejada leads it off, and he takes a breaking ball for a strike. It's 0-1.
That certainly was a contrast to some of the others.
It was a contrast.
And to each his own.
Maybe when we're up in New York, when we play the Mets, maybe Lannon can slide on over to Howard Stern Studios and get a chance to have a sit down.
I just don't know what to say when you saw the other ones up there. Somebody said Michael Jordan.
Philippe Almond.
Yeah,
didn't he say Michael Jordan? No, it was Mike Adams said Michael Jordan.
Adams, yeah.
Mike Adams was a wonderful basketball player when he was younger. The ball was hit foul, and it's 1-2. Philippe Almond said Tiger Woods.
Right.
Who would you want to sit down with, Wheels?
I've been sitting here thinking, and I just, there's so many, I don't know if I can narrow it down. I don't know.
Maybe with a young Sarge. Would you like to sit down with a young Sarge and pick his brain?
I did. Look where it got me. I know he'll hear that one.
1-2 the count. Ground ball toward third. Young charges. That's time.
The more I think about it, there's something about General Grant that has always fascinated me. Ulysses S. Grant.
So you liked his character in Lincoln, the movie?
Well, I wasn't, yeah, but I read his book and his memoirs, and just a fascinating guy, where he came from, and of course what he contributed, and then becoming president of the United States and all that. So I'm going to go with U.S. Grant.
First pitch to Elliott Johnson is taken low. It's 1 ball and no strikes.
And then if he wanted to bring Robert E. Lee along, that would be pretty cool.
What about Abraham Lincoln? Would you want him to join the conversation?
Yeah, but everybody was saying that.
Ground ball to second, and Utley makes another play. So another ground ball out for John Lannon. Don't forget, this Monday, the premiere of Phillies Sports Talk. Michael Barkad will be hosting. Daily News Live is in the books. It's history. But Michael will begin a new chapter in his hosting world with Phillies Sports Talk. Weeknights at 5, the new way to talk Philly sports.
How about you?
I would have said Abraham Lincoln. Mm-hmm. I know it was a lot of the things that everybody else said. From a baseball standpoint, I would be like Chase Utley. I would want to sit down with Babe Ruth. Mm-hmm. And just see what that era of baseball was like. There's a strike, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Luis Mendoza 0 for 3 in his career as a major league hitter with 3 strikeouts.
And unless you hit his bat, he should be an out.
Well, he didn't hit his bat. He throws him a breaking pitch, and Mendoza is rung up. 3 strikeouts for John Lannon. He's keeping the ball down, and he's keeping the Royals off balance through 2.5. your local dealer today. By Citizens Bank, where good banking is good citizenship. Isn't it time you experience good banking? And by Mazda, we believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. Bottom of the third, Phillies and the Royals scoreless at this point. Luis Mendoza will face John Lannon to start it off.
I want to see how he pitches Mendoza, pitches Lannon, because he just embarrassed him with that real slow breaking ball right there. And, you know, a lot of times if a pitcher does that, he'll get the same stuff.
Well, John Lannon, no offense to John Lannon, although he has a lot more experience than Mendoza and does have a major league home run.
Yeah.
He has struck out 100 times in his big league career.
Right on the nose.
Cole Hamels will take the baseball tomorrow for the Phillies. Try to bounce back after his opening night start against the Braves. He'll be opposed by James Shields. On paper, that's a dandy of a pitching match.
It sure is. James Shields, a heck of a pitcher.
Throws a sinker to Lannon. It's outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Kansas City traded some really good prospects for him,
including Will Myers, who was one of the best prospects in all of baseball.
So Lannon with a lot of at-bats against the Phillies over the years, and he was always one of those pitchers that stood out that wasn't a real good hitter. I wonder who he hit his home run.
Hiroki Kuroda.
Hiroki Kuroda.
Must have got a sinker that was up.
Yes.
Dribbler up the first base line, and it rolls foul. So it remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Lannon will take his time heading back toward the plate. Waved at a breaking pitch, so you throw me one, I'll throw you one with 2 strikes. 4 strikeouts now for Mendoza. For years, StubHub has been the place to find great Phillies tickets, and this season you can get more with your tickets thanks to StubHub Fan Rewards. So get to StubHub and grab your seats today. Wheels, the Fanatic is no longer red. I forgot to point that out yesterday. He's back to green. And he is raring to go.
He did paint the town red, though.
Yep. Here's Ben Revere. Revere grounded out to shortstop his only time up. You see Tejada playing in on the grass against him.
Butler's back a little bit further than he was the first time.
Well, last year, Ben Revere had 37 infield hits and 9 bunt hits.
Right. And a guy like Butler playing first base, who's out there for his offense, a great guy to try and drag one on. See if you can get him moving around. And there could be confusion between the pitcher and the first baseman on some things.
Over toward first base. That'll be an easy hop and a little trot to the bag for the second out.
Basically going fastball slider tonight. A lot of sliders even to the left-handed hitters.
Rollins struck out his first time up. Rollins so far with 1 run scored, coming off a season in which he's had over 100 runs scored for the 6th time in his career. He starts him off with a breaking pitch, a slider. It's 0-1. You would think after all the innings that Mendoza has thrown in the offseason, in winter ball, and in the World Baseball Classic, that his arm might feel somewhat fatigued, but the Royals probably didn't want him to throw as much as he did in the offseason. But one thing that they've talked about is how laid back he is. He's a very competitive guy, but he is very relaxed, not only on game days but just in general.
And he's a big, thick body, broad-shouldered guy. You're not like you're dealing with a slight frame type of pitcher. That's a big guy.
2-2 the count to Rollins. 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. And Rollins takes a little 3-2.
Doesn't miss by a lot either with his pitches. See why they like him.
Inside, ball 4. Second walk issued by Mendoza. The Phillies have had a few base runners in the first 3 innings, unlike the Royals. And that'll bring Chase Utley to the plate, who hit one to the wall his first time up. I mentioned that the catcher, Perez, has a good arm.
Right, at 14 guys attempted on him last year, 7 made it. His times are outstanding. He's not a guy you think about running on, especially, as you mentioned, Tom, with that catcher, the way he can throw.
Rollins so far on the season is 2 for 2.
I'd say use a slide step necessarily. We'll see why he's so quick to the plate.
Royals play Utley to pull on the left side. And Chase takes low. 1 ball, no strikes.
This gives a little knee kick. Want someone, Jimmy Rollins talking it over after that first pitch to see what they got for a time then. It looked like he was really going to have a good move over there then, and then he just kind of lobbed it over. His feet were really quick, and that got Jimmy's attention.
And now a conversation as Perez goes out. The fact that the Phillies have had a couple base runners tonight, Mendoza has not exhausted himself out there, but he is throwing 56 pitches with 2 outs here in the third. Now, if you think about the high water mark that a pitching coach wants for a pitcher would be 15 pitches per inning. He's, well above that number.
15 is, you can average 15, you're going to stay in the game.
Yeah, that would be 7 innings at 105 pitches, or 8 innings at 120 pitches. As the season moves on, it's okay. See what Utley gets here with the count 2-0. Rollins leads off first. There he goes. Utley will take. The pitch is a strike, and the throw not in time. 3 for 3 on the year for Jimmy Rollins.
Great time to run. Jimmy Rollins had figured some things out. Took off, stole that pretty easily. Chase Utley gave a little bat waggle in front of catcher Perez's view. Watch what he does with the bat right here. He just put it out there. Catchers aren't real crazy about that. Good job by Jimmy getting in scoring position. That guy can throw that.
Now a base hit should give the Phils the lead. And Utley takes low. 3-1 the count to Chase.
Well, you'll see right now whether they want Utley or Ryan Howard in this spot by the pitch he throws. If he throws something borderline, breaking ball, off speed, then they're basically saying, all right, we're going to take advantage of that base open, and we're going to go after the next guy with a fresh count since we've fallen behind here.
Utley grounds it foul at the first base line.
It looked like he threw him a fastball.
He did.
It was up a little bit, though. I don't know whether it was a strike. Chase liked it. Now you're still in a spot where they do not have to pitch to Utley here if they don't want to.
One run early. This one's looking a little bit big at this point.
Little number to the left of the mound. That's going to spin its way for... Oh, what a play by Miguel Tejada. Utley thought he was safe. Tejada was able to squash the ball and make the throw. I didn't think there was any chance they were going to get him over at first base. But Miguel Tejada saves the inning for the Royals, all in one motion, just in time to wrap up the bottom of the third. Green Mountain Coffee. K-Cups delivered in all the flavors you love. By who but W.B. Mason. Chase Utley just tore the cover off the ball, Sarge. On a little spinner just to the left of the mound. Miguel Tejada robbed him of a base hit, made a wonderful play. And we'll show you the replay because he literally tore the cover off the ball. Look at this. Look at it. Look at the ball. It's ripped.
That's on the end of the bat. How are they able to throw the ball right there on the bag there?
Alex Gordon swings at the first pitch. Utley has it go off the heel of his glove. And that'll be his second error of the season. And the first base runner for the Royals.
Top spin on this ball, and when you have top spin, you can see that's a ball he should really be able to catch. That just hit him right there off the heel. Even though it did have top spin, that should not impede him from being able to catch that ground ball.
Here's Escobar. He grounded to third his first time up. Ground ball toward third, should be two. Young flips to second for one. Tough play, and not in time. Pulled Utley off the bag. So the putout goes 5-4 at second. Got a fielder's choice.
Well, he did everything right except for right there, which was a throw. Had plenty of time, however, and he almost turned it. But you can see when that throw got him off balance like that, almost impossible to get just a decent runner.
I know every player wants to be as clean as possible when it comes to their fielding. As Billy Butler steps up. You've known Michael Young for a long time. We've seen him make two misplays over at third, maybe three, and look at it, it's eating at him.
Yeah. Well, he's a perfectionist, and he knows that if he has a good throw over to second base, Utley, it would have been two.
Escobar has stolen 2 bags so far. That one slowly hit. The only play is to first. And Young throws out Butler. To second goes Escobar. 2 away. Thursday, April 18th, the Phillies start a 4-game series against the St. Louis Cardinals. All fans coming to the ballpark that night will receive the Expedex 2013 schedule magnet. And don't forget, Sunday the 21st, we're going to celebrate the Fanatic's birthday thanks to Citizens Bank. A free time-traveling Fanatic DVD to fans 14 and under. Make your plans now. Order your tickets at Phillies.com.
I understand that DVD is quite the hit.
Now, am I going to let the cat out of the bag? That aren't you part of that DVD in some way, shape, or form?
Let's not let the cat out of the bag here, Tom. We got to let the fans go on it and take a look at it, and then let them decide on how good or bad it is or not. Yeah, I will say L.A. starred in it, as a matter of fact.
As L.A. or as an alter ego?
Well, more alter ego than himself. But let me tell you, though, it was a fun project to actually do with the Fanatic.
1 ball, 1 strike, the count to Perez. 0 for 1. He struck out his first time up. Threw him a changeup, and it's 1-2. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, Mets defeated the Marlins 7-3. David Wright had 2 runs scored and an RBI. The 1-2 pitch to Perez. Hit hard towards shortstop. Rollins backhand, sets himself, fires in time. Another ground out for John Lannon. He leaves one in scoring position. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Ryan Howard will lead it off for the Phils. Visit your Honda dealer today for great deals. Only a Honda is a Honda. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by Xfinity, the official HD triple play provider of your Philadelphia Phillies. Bottom of the 4th inning. Phillies have 1 hit. The Royals do not have a hit so far. It'll be Ryan Howard, Michael Young, Dominic Brown due up for the Phillies. In fact, the only ball the Phillies have in the air tonight is the fly ball off the bat of Chase Utley. The Royals have no balls in the air. Everything's been either a strikeout or a ground out for John Lannon. Ryan Howard struck out his first time up. One of 4 strikeouts for Mendoza.
got a real good breaking ball. Starts that ball in the zone, and then it actually disappears. I think Howard would have a little better success if he's able to get the ball up some. I think he has to realize, too, none of these pitchers really want to face him. You know, he's got to really realize just how dominating of a hitter that he is. It's a good pitch.
That one's hit hard on one hop, make it 2. Escobar throws out Howard. Mendoza, I think he feared for his life as that ball went past his head.
Yeah, that's a hard line drive. Tried to sneak a fastball by him. Ryan not very happy, but all hitters should be happy when they're squaring the ball up. You can work from that. Just don't panic. Still early in the season.
I think panic was a topic of conversation that Charlie Manuel has had a couple of times this week already. You know, with the Phillies losing the first 2 against the Braves, he talked about panic, and also with the Phillies struggling with runners in scoring position so far this season. He was asked about panic from that standpoint, and he said, "I'm not going to, go out there every day and talk to the players about hitting with runners in scoring position, because I'm just not going to do it." The Phillies have 6 hits now and 30 at-bats with runners in scoring position. He said there will be a time where I will have a talk, whether it be individually or collectively. He goes, but it's just not the time yet.
Well, he always, let's face it, he talks hitting quite a bit. But to hit in the clutch, I mean, that's just something that really you got to have. That's not a good swing. Off balance, we've talked about that. You keep your balance if you're going to be a good hitter. Same as a pitcher, he's on the mound, and if he doesn't have good balance, difficult to repeat throwing strikes. And Mendoza can pitch. I mean, fastballs, he's throwing that 2-seamer is all over the place, in and out. You can tell he's very confident with that breaking pitch.
Dominic Brown is behind 0-1 as he fouls the first pitch off. But Sarge, you're in agreement, right, with Charlie that there's no reason to panic at this point. That you can have those conversations, have them individually, to bring it up every once in a while, but not to, really.
Well, I mean, we haven't even played 10 games. I think for him to go in and start talking about, hey guys, you got to hit with runners in scoring position would show his character. And he's not a guy that's going to worry about that, even though he was a guy that would drive in some runs.
Dominic Brown hits it sharply right at the second baseman Elliott Johnson. So the Phillies go down 1-2-3 here in the 4th. Pretty clean inning for Luis Mendoza. It's been a pretty clean 4 innings so far for both pitchers. We go to the 5th here in Philly.
brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
All right, so Sarge, Charlie Manuel managed his 1,300th game with the Phillies yesterday. He's one of 47 managers in MLB history with at least 1,300 games for the same team.
Oh, my.
That's longevity right there.
Well, he has a lot of pride about himself. He manages in a way where you just want the players to go out there and you play hard. I mean, the players respect him. Obviously, a player's type of a manager where he doesn't or not going to just get on you on things that you're doing. He expects for you to be able to go out there and play the way that they prepared you for spring training. Sorry, Tom.
I was going to say it's his 51st year in baseball.
That's a long time. I mean, he's seen a lot of baseball.
Here's the 1-2 pitch, and it hit him. Lorenzo Cain is aboard. In the second straight inning, the Royals have had the leadoff hitter aboard. The error the last time, the hit by pitch here. I'll bring Jeff Francoeur to the plate. Francoeur in the final year of a 3-year deal with the Kansas City Royals. You got to keep an eye on Cain. Cain hasn't stolen a base yet, but he's got good wheels. Francoeur came into camp in better shape. He's thinned down an awful lot since the Phillies first saw him with the Atlanta Braves. 1 ball and no strikes.
He didn't have a good year offensively last year, only hitting .235. He's a better hitter than that, obviously. But his main thing, however, is the defense. He's been known more of a defensive type of player with a good arm.
Missed again low, 2 balls and no strikes. I said to him today, I said, when they introduced you yesterday, it was as if everybody was surprised that he was on the Royals. They didn't boo initially, but then as he came out, they started to boo a little bit more. They realized it was him.
Remember that? Oh, yeah, okay, that's Jeff. He's the one that we want.
Swing and a miss, and it's 2-1.
Landon doing a good job in spotting that fastball. And anytime any pitcher you see with as many ground balls that he has, that he's on top of his game. Does have to pitch inside, and every now and then a ball will get away. But let's face it, in today's game, a lot of the hitters, or pitchers I should say, just don't intentionally throw in at hitters the way they used to. Sure, it goes on every now and then. For the most part, no.
Two and 2 the count to Jeff Francoeur. You have a theory as to why they don't throw inside anymore?
Oh, yeah, simple. Talking with George Brett yesterday about it, he said that when players are throwing at each other, you're going to get fines, and there's hefty fines. Not only that, you know, he talked about, you know, paying the players the amount of money that they're getting these days, and you don't want to see someone hurt.
Well, there's the first hit of the night for the Kansas City Royals. Hits off the half wall. Cain goes to third, and Francoeur pulls into second. And Kansas City has runners on second and third with nobody out here in the 5th. And Francoeur with his first extra base hit of the year.
Now this ball right down the line, nothing at all. You see it hits on the outside of that chalk. So that's where it goes over the base. But once it gets there, I mean, you just want to stop it, get it back in as quick as possible.
Well, you've got Tejada and then Elliott Johnson, the number 8 hitter, before the pitcher.
Yeah.
Let's see how the Phillies play the defense here.
Yeah, they'll play that the defense in, you would think, although they're playing back there with Tejada on the third base, first base. Those guys, however, are in, and I'm sure they'll go home if the ball is hit to them.
Tejada hits it towards second. Kane didn't break right away, but now he comes home. It's going to be an RBI for Tejada, and the Royals take a 1-0 lead.
Kind of gives you an indication there when that ball is hit in the middle of the field. A little easier, even though he didn't break right away, he was able to make it without a throw. If he had been playing up, they would have been able to get him. Take a look at it. Take a look at the runner. See how he hesitated? Well, even by then, it's just too late to be able to get him at home plate with a tag.
Well, now Elliot Johnson, the Phillies will play the infield in with Francoeur over at third. 1-0 Kansas City. Now Lannon asks Quintero to go through the signs one more time. Royals picked up Elliot Johnson from the Tampa Bay Rays during the offseason.
Still want to make sure that he hits your pitch.
Low again, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Not the end of the world if he ends up walking them with Mendoza coming up next. That's why you still want to pitch them carefully. I mean, you just don't want to be giving in right now for me in this situation.
Off to the right, out of play, 2-2. What about now with 2 strikes? Do you change your approach, or you still have the same thought?
Well, same way, because I don't want to give up a run here. So I'm going to change. Yeah, for sure, change my spot. I thought that pitch was up a little bit where you don't want it to be up in the zone. You want him to, if he is going to hit that ball, on the ground.
Well, he hits it on the ground, but right back through the middle. A base hit. Francoeur will score. Second hit of the inning for the Royals. They lead it 2-0. Tejada had the first RBI, and now Elliot Johnson has the second one. It's still 1 man down here in the 5th, and the pitcher's coming up.
I tell you, that's pretty good hitting. Right up the middle. We talked about it before. You see again that ball up in the zone there. And I thought maybe if he ended up getting a hit, it would have been down in a way, or even down and in.
Mendoza bunts foul as he's trying to sacrifice Johnson in a scoring position. And it's no balls and 1 strike. Eddie Rodriguez, the third base coach.
Obviously, most pitchers aren't used to hitting, but believe it or not, a lot of them really enjoy this time when they're able to go and swing the bat or try and bunt the ball.
I'm not sure how much hitting Luis Mendoza's done in winter ball, whether he's done any at all. But he's 0 for 4 so far with 4 strikeouts, and he doesn't look all that comfortable trying to lay down a sacrifice.
Yeah, well, he kind of actually punched the ball in that situation, and usually when you're bunting, you're just going to use your legs, but you want to go down with it as opposed to kind of just, well, punching at the ball.
Quintero's had a busy inning so far with all those pitches in the dirt, but it's now 2-2. Royals have scored 2 runs in the inning. They got their first hit, a double by Francoeur. And then their second hit was a single by Elliot Johnson. Johnson had an RBI and Tejada had an RBI. And there is strike 3. So Mendoza is now 0 for 5 in his career with 5 strikeouts. 2 outs, and then top of the order, Alex Gordon. Don't forget the Phillies Festival is scheduled for Thursday, May 16th. Of course, it benefits the ALS Association of Philadelphia. Now, the featured items for 2013 are vast. You can go to Phillies.com and take a look at them. But there'll be autograph booths with or photo booths with Cliff Lee and Ben Revere. Of course, the silent auction and grab bags. A family fun to benefit a great cause. Call 215-463-1000 or go to Phillies.com for more information. Alex Gordon is 0 for 2. He reached on an error his last time up. They struck out in the first. And the first pitch misses. It's 1-0.
Still pitching very effectively, though. He's getting ground balls. That ball was just not hit right at the J-Row. Other than that, only been 1 run so far. It's a good pitch.
Well, of course, it hurt when Lorenzo Cain was in the hole, 1-2, and he wound up hitting him. As Lana just threw his 65th pitch of the night. 22 of those pitches coming here in the 5th. There goes the runner. Pitch is pulled through the hole on the right side. Johnson will continue on to third. And it's the 3rd hit of the inning. So 1st and 3rd with 2 men down. The first 4 innings of this series have not been a problem for the Phillies and the pitchers. The 5th inning yesterday, the Royals scored 2, and then they didn't look back after that. They've scored 2 here in the 5th tonight. And John Lannon is trying to get the final out here in the top of the 5th. And give his offense a chance to come back.
Kansas City Royals have been very aggressive. They've been squaring up a few of these balls here lately and finding some holes.
Toward first, a foul ball. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Escobar grounded out to third and then reached on a fielder's choice. In fact, he's hit 2 balls to third base so far. Johnson's over at third. Alex Gordon's at first. And the count 1-1 Escobar.
These guys are very aggressive hitters. Most of them seem to have pretty good game plan. Kind of carried this on from spring training.
Michael Young looks to second, throws to Utley covering. The inning comes to a close, but the Royals strike first. Not only their first hit off Lannon, but their first couple of runs. Middle of the 5th, it's the Royals 2 and the Phillies nothing. John Mayberry is set to lead things off for the Phils against Luis Mendoza. Let's check in with Greg Murphy. Murph, what's going on down in the Diamond Club?
Well, T-Mac, before today's game, Jimmy Rollins got his 2012 Rollins Gold Glove Award. He becomes just the fourth history to have 4 or more Gold Gloves, but not to be outdone, guys. Kids 14 and under today, when they walk through the gates here at Citizens Bank Park, they got their own replica Gold Glove. Now, I will tell you that Jimmy's is slightly bigger and slightly golder, but a nice gift for all the kids 14 and under. I was able to swipe one as well. But Jimmy Rollins, what a year. Last year he had really terrific fielder we've known for years. He won 1 in 7, 2007 and 2008, 2009, and then again in 2012. And he joined some pretty good company. Ozzie Smith and Dave Concepcion, the only shortstops in the National League with more Gold Gloves, guys.
Boy, those are two guys that if you could put your name next to those two players defensively and even offensively for some years, and I mean that's a pretty good company right there.
No doubt about it. I think that routine play or the routine double play makes it as good as anyone. You've seen him 360 when he catches that ball up the middle and he's got a turn. Does that very well.
2-1 the count to John Mayberry as he fouls that off. Well, we saw this the other day when Jason Hayward received his Gold Glove, and Steve Cohen from Rawlings presented Jimmy Rollins with that Gold Glove prior to the start of the ball game. Brandon Miller, who we saw earlier throughout the first pitch, was also part of the ceremony. That is a great trophy to put up on your mantle.
Oh boy.
You're going to need a big mantle when you have as many, Murph, as Jimmy Rollins does.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to need a bigger trophy case. But I'll tell you what, you're right about that. We always have that discussion. What's the coolest trophy in sports? And some folks will say the Stanley Cup. For an individual award, I got to say the Gold Glove is right up there.
That's a sharp one.
Cool thing.
Yeah. That is, I believe it's a replica of the glove Rollins would wear if he wore that brand, an infielder's glove from Rawlings. Check swing, foul ball. It's 3-2. Sarge, you got a favorite trophy that you received during your career? Was it the MVP award for National League MVP? I mean the League Championship Series MVP award against the Dodgers?
Actually, that was a card that I actually received. But
did you bronze it?
Honestly, really that little Rookie of the Year where you have that cup.
Yeah.
Right. That was. Obviously, I mean, for me, that was terrific because of the players that were involved in that voting that particular year, from Mike Smith to Bill Matlock.
Mayberry walks for the second time.
See if they can get something going here.
For me, Tom, it was the 7th grade spelling bee.
I was going to ask you, Murph. I wasn't going to leave you out, but I was trying to think how I was going to present it to you.
Well, I actually have it up in the office with me. I can go get it.
Is it a ribbon or is it an actual trophy?
Oh, it's a trophy.
Did you ever win any Pinewood Derby trophy or anything like that?
That's pretty much the only thing I've ever won.
Well, congratulations on behalf of everyone for being the best speller.
Thank you very much.
Here's Humberto Quintero, who struck out his first time up. And he lines one toward right field, but it's right at Francoeur. If you're Mayberry, you got to get back pretty quick, too, because Francoeur has a very good arm. One away. And you figure Ladden's going to be up there to try to sacrifice Mayberry up to second base.
Yeah.
Here in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, continue to hit the ball hard. You want to be able to get your runner in scoring position. Very important for Landon to lay that ball down. You start getting men in scoring position where it becomes a little easier to be able to drive them in, where you don't have the pressure on you.
Ladden bunts. That's a pretty good bunt. It'll get the job done. Mayberry goes up to second. Putout goes to first base.
Look at this technique here as he bunts that ball there, and he dents it, even though it's out in front of home plate. You got a quick runner there, and Mayberry Jr., he was able to get there. She has to come all the way to home plate, just about to get the ball. Yeah, you'd like it to be to first base, but anytime they get over to second for a pitcher, he has done his job.
Ben Revere has grounded out twice. Well, he's due for a hit. He's 3 for 20 so far. And he takes a strike.
Yeah, I just noticed that he's more or less swinging at the pitcher's pitch. Spring training, he was getting the ball up in the zone and line drives, left field, right field.
Slaps it off the glove of Tejada. There's a base hit. Mayberry's being waved home. The throw by Gordon is up the line, and the Phillies are on the board. An RBI single. It's a 2-1 game.
Mendoza kind of shaking his head. Good hitting, however, by that young man, and then an aggressive base running by Mayberry as Ryan Sandberg sends him in. Easy to judge there. Now he got that ball up. Tejada just missed from catching that ball, and you see him coming around there. Sandberg bringing him all the way as he slides anyway, just to make sure.
All right, let's see what Revere does. He's over at first with 2 men down. The Phillies have pulled it within 1. Jimmy Rollins sends one in the air to left center field. Gordon into the alleyway, makes the call, and he makes the catch. And the side is retired. But the Phils do get a run on the RBI single by Ben Revere. They leave 1 onto the 6th in a 1-run ball game. Awarded with his talents for many years to come. It was a great year for number 35, and it is brought to you by Independence Blue Cross, changing the game. On Turkey Hill Kids opening night, there's a kid who gets a chance to be a little Elvis impersonator with the Fanatic. Fanatics used Elvis the last couple of nights.
Yeah.
He's nervous. He's trying to get the youngster to follow his lead. We go to the top of the 6th, 2-1 ball game. Billy Butler's the hitter. Butler 0 for 2. He's grounded out twice. Phillies did score a run in their half of the 5th. Jimmy Rollins flied out to left on the first pitch to end the inning. I thought maybe Sarge he would give Ben Revere a pitch or two to try to get him in scoring position.
Well, you know what? I was thinking the same thing, and usually Ben runs early in the count, so you don't really have to take a lot of pitches. The reason that you want to take is get him there in scoring position and then put a little more pressure on the pitcher to make a good pitch.
Now, with that said, if Rollins would have hit a 2-run home run, we wouldn't have thought that. We probably would have thought it, but...
No, but the thing is, it's okay to swing at the first pitch if you're squaring them up.
Right. Third time tonight, Billy Butler is grounded out. Lannon continues to roll ground balls. He has struck out 4 tonight, but every other out he's recorded has been on the ground.
Yeah.
Perez is struck out. He's grounded out to shortstop. A little low, and it's 2-0.
Pretty good pitch. Those are the kind of balls that he'd like for hitters to swing at.
Lannan has not had a 3-ball count until now. You see the distribution of outs for him: 12 ground outs, 4 strikeouts. And a 3-0 pitch. That's in there for a strike. It's 3-1. Out toward right field. So the first fly ball out of the night is recorded by John Mayberry. Okay, there are 2 outs. And Lorenzo Cain is due up for the Royals.
Landon's doing a good job in making them hit his pitch. That was a 3-1 changeup that was hit into right field. You can see it wasn't squared up, not hit very hard. Those ground balls, you got to have patience when you hit against a guy like this. But when you're a free swinging club, and the way these guys swing the bat, it makes it even more of a test.
Can a free swinging club like this catch the Tigers or the White Sox in the American League Central?
I got to tell you what, they've opened up a lot of scouts' eyes around the league, and they're not just people around the league, especially in that Central. You're not going to be taking this team for granted. And yeah, I think that they can compete because they can bang, they can hit the ball. Now that will take them as far as their pitching is going to take them, but the bullpen-wise, they got as strong a bullpen just about as anybody in Major League Baseball.
A good pitch by Lannan on the inside part of the plate. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Now, in saying that, the one thing they don't have is the experience. And you would think that you got to have that. But, you know, these youngsters, they're feeling they can compete like everyone else. And they showed us last night that they can hit the ball. And that was for real. There's no question about that.
3 balls, 2 strikes, the count. 2 outs here at the top of the 6th. Swing and a miss. Boy, he took something off that one, and he picks up his 5th strikeout of the night. Lannan's been pretty good tonight, folks, through 6 innings, and they used to say back in the vet, let's get some runs. Plus Ford stores. Go further. By Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEFF-NOW for an appointment. And by Chevrolet. Visit your local Chevy dealer or ChevyDealer.com. Phillies down 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the 6th there at Citizens Bank Park. Time now for our Hyundai defensive play of the game. Sarge, do you think Miguel Tejada had a chance at this one?
Boy, I thought it was a base hit all the way there. It's almost a swinging bunt. He comes in, the only way he can do it, one-handed, made a terrific play as he ends up switching that ball around a little bit, barely nipping up at the bag to get him.
Brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Utley starts the sixth for the Phils, and he takes a strike on the inside corner. Tejada playing third tonight. Moustakas, a left-handed hitter, gets the night off. Utley's fly to deep left field. He's also grounded out on that little number we just showed you. And he's down to the count. No balls and 2 strikes.
Well, the way that Lannon is pitching, I mean, as a hitter, you really want to get him some runs. You want to make sure you do everything you possibly can, be able to get on base. Obviously, right now, they're not hitting the ball the way they're capable of hitting it. You see a pitcher pitching like that kind of gets you going a little bit to maybe try and do a little bit more. No doubt, so far tonight, he is doing his job, only giving up 2 runs. But Mendoza, so far, has been just a little bit better.
Swing and a miss. And he's picked up his 6th strikeout.
That's filthy.
Don't forget this Monday, it's the premiere of Philly Sports Talk. Each day at 5 p.m. Eastern. Michael Barkad will be your host as they close up shop on DNL, Daily News Live, and they open the door for Philly Sports Talk. Weeknights at 5, the new way to talk Philly sports. Each show starts with what's trending in Philly sports. Each night, viewers will be in charge of picking the last segment of the program by voting on the choice of 3 hot topics. So tune in this Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Ryan Howard lines one on 1 hop into the shift. Elliott Johnson, shallow right, throws him out 2 away.
As Mendoza, he's been able to throw pitches where most of the time guys haven't been able to get the good part of the bat on the ball. That ball hit pretty good, but still got in on him a little bit. Take a look at it as that ball's coming in, and that's a little slider there that he's throwing, and Howard hit that one there. Appeared to be like off the end maybe a little bit.
Michael Young, the hitter, and he takes a slider for strike 1, 0-1. He's gotten to more breaking pitches here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Well, you can tell the confidence and the way that he's throwing it. I mean, he's getting it, getting his sign, and just throwing it right to the target. Well, he has a decent fastball, a good fastball at 92 that he's been throwing. But that breaking ball that he's thrown has been making that fastball even a little better. These kind of guys, it's hard to guess with them. I'd like to try and sit back, see that pitch, and if you can stay up the middle on them, good things happen when you hit that ball up the middle. Good size for a pitcher. Pitchers like that can be intimidating at times, and he doesn't throw a lot of balls in, but able to hit that outside corner, it seems, at will.
Well, there you go, another slider, and he gets Michael Young. 7 strikeouts tonight for Mendoza. He retires the Phillies in order here in the 6th inning. He's been able to mix it up. He's got more to the breaking pitch, and that's helped his cause. We go to the 7th. Jeff Francoeur will lead it off at the top of the 7th inning for the Royals. They scored their 2 runs in the 5th. And Francoeur had the first hit of the night against Lannon. The Royals have 3 hits, but the Phillies only have 2 hits. And Francoeur lines one to right center field. Revere's not going to get it. It's going to go to the wall. He's going to have his second extra base hit.
Yeah, that's what happened last time up. He has a double. Once again, the Phillies were without extra base hits. And you will score runs if you hit doubles.
Well, Rod Nichols to the phone. Let's see who the Phillies get up. It's going to be Philippe Almond.
Heck of a job tonight by 2 teams' 5th starters.
Yeah, Mendoza won the job over Bruce Chen out of spring training. Lannon really didn't have any competition for the 5th starter spot. Aaron Cook was in camp, so was Zach Miner. Cook is now with the Colorado Rockies in AAA, and Miner's with the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. There's Almont. Looks like Bastardo's going to grab a baseball.
Remember, they have an all left-handed hitting bench right now, and they're getting down towards the bottom of the order in a 1-run game. Now, this is the part of the game where moves are going to start being made, or the threat of moves. See if they want Tejada to give himself up here and hit the ball the other way. The guy on deck, Johnson, got a base hit and RBIs last time up.
Toyota Major League Scoreboard. Cubs lead the Braves 5-1. Nate Schierholtz, who was part of the Phillies last year, has a double and an RBI. He's already homered this year. Want to know the count to Tejada? And he does give himself up, but he gets a little bit more. Francoeur's going to score from second. Tejada on his way to second. And he'll be there sliding with an RBI double. It's 3-1 Kansas City.
We talk all the time. You play the game the right way, and good things can happen. And that's what Tejada did there. He's giving himself up, and then he winds up squirting the ball down the line. Here he is. You see him just trying to hit the ball the right side. He waited on the off-speed pitch, and then Ryan Howard, playing way off the line, has no chance to get it, and another extra base hit and more trouble.
Well, here's Elliott Johnson. His charge will be the same thing, is to try to give himself up and get Tejada over to third.
Right, and then they're going to hit for Mendoza.
Yeah, they have Chris Getz in the on-deck circle, who had a single, double, and a triple in yesterday's game. Here's the 1-0 pitch. And Johnson decides to bunt. They'll get the runner over to third. It'll be a sacrifice. And there's 1 out. These lucky fans are tonight's Citizens 7. They will receive a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank, with the most 7-day branches in the Philadelphia area. To find a branch near you, visit citizensbank.com. Rich Doobie out to the mound.
Well, going over the scouting report on Getz right now is Bastardo and Almont continue to throw in the bullpen. Have a left here no matter who they bring off the bench. But Lannon's still in the game. Have to bring the infield in again.
Well, I mentioned that Getz yesterday in the 8-hole for the Royals was part of their assault, and it was a pretty big assault. 3 for 5 with a double, a triple, and 3 RBIs.
Yeah, here's that ball he hit late in the game. Got by Dominic Brown all the way to the wall for a 3-run triple.
Midfield in, Tejada at third. Swing and a miss, it's 0-1. They throw behind him, and they've got Tejada.
That was bad baseline. I don't know what he's thinking there.
Just fell asleep.
Go that far down the line with a left-handed hitter up and a catcher with a clear shot at it. Great job by Quintero to recognize what's going on. Michael Young just breaks in behind him. That's not even close. What a big move there, break there for the Phillies on the base running mistake.
Now there's a bloop out toward left center field. Dominic Brown coming over, and he makes the catch. And John Lannon able to stop the bleeding. The Royals do score 1. But then Humberto Quintero, he's been known to do this during his career. He's helped out by some poor base running. He throws behind Tejada, and he helps the Phils through the inning. Quiz answer. All right, Wheels, I know you logged on to Phillies.com and revealed your answer. The question one more time is, name the 3 Royals pitchers that have thrown no-hitters.
Well, I think I know 2 of them because I remember Steve Busby was a great pitcher for them back in the 70s. I'm going to go with him.
Steve Busby is correct. That's number 1. He did it twice, actually.
He did?
Yeah.
Wow. Then one of them remember him. I would go with Saberhagen.
Fred Saberhagen is correct. That is number 2.
I don't know the third. No clue.
Well, the answer is Jim Colburn.
Jim Colburn, okay. Right-hander, pitched for the Milwaukee Brewers at one time also, I believe.
Log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for playing Dodge Stump the Fans.
Yeah, and if you got that one and didn't look it up, nice going. You're a heck of a Royals fan.
Dominic Brown will lead it off. Aaron Crow is the new pitcher for the Royals. Former number 1 pick. Getz stays in the ball game to play second base, and Elliott Johnson moves from second base over to third for KC. Outside, 3-0. 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 7 strikeouts for Luis Mendoza.
It's really impressive. Good sinker. And he used the slider very effectively, especially that back foot one to some of the left-handed hitters.
Phillies had a single by Young in the second, a single by Ben Revere in the 5th. That was it. Dominic Brown has Dominic Brown has grounded into a fielder's choice and grounded out to second. Down the right field line, hooking foul.
He threw him a 3-2 breaking ball there. Got him way out in front after a lot of fastballs.
Chopper towards shortstop. Escobar has a nice friendly hop. And there's one away. That'll bring John Mayberry to the plate, and it's time now for our Major League Notebook. Murph, take it away.
All right, thank you, T-Mac. Brought to you by Gwinnett Mercy College. And the Nationals' first baseman Adam LaRoche was unavailable for this afternoon's game for the Nationals. He has a sore back. The Nationals said that he needs a day or two of rest. He started the season 0 for 13, but the Nationals did win that game 7-6 in extra innings. And Baltimore's Chris Davis is going for a little bit of history tonight. He's already become just the 4th player in Major League history to start the season with hitting a home run in the first 4 games. But right now, he is 1 for 2 in that game with an RBI single, but no home run as of yet for the Orioles' Chris Davis. Guys?
Orioles are trailing Minnesota 5-3. They're in the bottom of the 5th. But Murph, just in case you're wondering, if you're continuing to follow that story, they are threatening.
Well, there you go.
Bases are loaded in the 5th.
He's in pretty good company, too. Willie Mays, Mark McGwire, and Nelson Cruz, the only other 3 major leaguers ever to do that. So, pretty good names on that list.
Well, tonight he's facing Vance Worley. How about the fact he has 16 runs batted in already?
It's a good start.
It is a good start. I don't think the Yankees have scored 16 runs the whole year. Swing and a miss. It's 1-2 to Mayberry.
Throws another one of those power arms they have in the bullpen. And with a 2-run lead here in the 7th inning, we're going to see him now.
He tried to check, but he went around, according to home plate umpire Jeff Kellogg. Second out. 8th strikeout of the night for the Royals.
So Perez do a good job with him there too. After all these fastballs, he swings at this. But what Perez did before they put his hand up to his helmet, like saying, "All right, now let's think what we're going to do here." And he gave him a 2 for a breaking ball. And then he put his glove on the ground. And I want it down here. We're ahead of him. We want it down here. We want it away, and you'll get a chase possibility. And he did. It's a good job by the pitcher and the catcher.
Quintero tried to hold up. He went. It's 0-1. He's 0 for 2. He struck out. He's also flied to right. And the Phillies have managed just a couple hits tonight. The Royals have 5 hits. A well-pitched game at this point.
Yeah, that's a good slider. He has a good fastball. Adams gets up for the Phillies. But that breaking ball is a hard breaking ball. These right-handed hitters, they're not comfortable, to say the least.
Ground ball out towards shortstop. Escobar will have time. Another 1-2-3 innings, 7 in a row retired by the Royals. We go to the 8th inning here at Philadelphia. It's the Royals 3 and the Phillies 1. With the Fanatic here on Turkey Hill Kids opening night.
They did a great job. Looked like they were trying to check themselves out a little bit up there on the big screen, and why not?
Not a bad idea.
Look at that one.
dangle hats for everybody. Mike Adams is going to come into the ballgame here in the 8th inning. A, he needs some work. B, the Phillies need to keep this in a 2-run ballgame. He's pitched in 1 game. He had 2 strikeouts in an inning in Wednesday's loss to the Braves.
And since their quick start yesterday in that game, they are really getting stymied offensively by the Kansas City Royals pitching.
Adams, who pitched last year for the Texas Rangers.
And it doesn't get any easier tomorrow with Shields.
Phillies will have Cole Hamels to counter James Shields in tomorrow's ballgame. Time now for our Coors Light Freeze Cam. Well, that gentleman had a little trouble earlier with a ball. He got the ball, but he had a little trouble keeping his drawers on.
Yeah, that was. We tried that earlier, and we got it right that time.
Look at the 2 women that are with him.
What do they call that?
Look at that kid. He's stunned.
He's like, I can't believe that. What do they call it? The plumber look?
It's something like that. Yeah.
That was. What that could be called.
Yeah.
Not all plumbers.
Nope.
No, we're not going to go there with that, of course.
There he is.
It's been called that over the years.
There was a thought that, since he came onto the field a little bit too far, that he might have to lose those seats, but technically kept his foot in the stands.
Well, he is famous now.
At least part of it. There's a strike, and it's 1-1.
People were recording that and showing that to him for a long time. Said,
Mom always said to make sure you had clean underwear.
Always, and there's another example. That YouTube stuff, that's the kind of things that they find on there, right?
Among other things, yes.
Yeah.
1-1 the Cats to Gordon. Swing and a miss, good off speed pitch, and it's 1-2. Gordon has 1 hit in 3 official at-bats. He struck out in the first, reached on an error in the 4th, and he singled in the 5th. What letter are you going to use tomorrow, Wills? You use the X tonight. You got any other letters you're going to use up there?
Yeah, we got circles. We have sketchy arrow. We have the solid freehand with arrow. We have the solid freehand with no arrow. And we have lightning.
Up the first base line, and it rolls foul.
And we have the 3-point curve, Tom, to go along with the rectangle.
Is it just lightning, or there are other weather systems that are part of that?
It just says lightning. I don't think I'll put it up now, but I did see it earlier, and it's just lightning.
Oh, you did look at it. Here's a replay of Gordon's ball.
All right, now we'll go with the solid arrow.
Yeah.
And that ball's foul.
I don't think that's an arrow.
Oh, no, that's
just a line.
Here's the arrow. Wait a minute.
1-2 the count to Gordon. Outside 2-2. We're able to get this new telestrator, and Wheels is been soaking in every bit of it.
Can't wait when we have the kids come visit the booth. How they like to play with the telestrator. They're going to love this thing.
How they like to show you how to use it properly.
Well, 3rd, 4th grade, be easy.
Tonight would be a good night. It's kids opening night. Turkey Hill's kids opening night.
Good at bat by Gordon. He's a good looking hitter. Mike Adams trying everything with him. Stands way off the plate.
Got him. Threw the changeup, and there's Adams' his first strikeout. 6 strikeouts overall for Phillies pitching.
I didn't realize he had such a good changeup that we saw him in spring training, and always thought of him as more of a fastball cut guy. He has a very good changeup for left-handed hitters, and you saw it right there. Likes to put that hat back. That's always been one of his mannerisms. Then he'll pull it back down.
Escobar is 0 for 3. You see 2 fielders' choices, 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th. Fastball a little high, 1-0.
Sarge uses telestrator yet?
He has not used it yet. We're going to ease him into it.
I know the feeling.
The classroom only fits 1 person at a time, so we haven't put his time down yet.
He's not received his tutorial.
No. Pitch. A little low. 2-0 the count. Phillies in their half of the 8th inning will have the pitcher's spot. Then the top of the order, Revere and Rollins. This is 1 and done for Mike Adams, which will be the case as the season moves on.
They have a right-hander up getting ready.
There's Mick Billmeyer, who is part of Charlie's bench staff this year. He's taking care of the lineup card. Kelvin Herrera, we did not see him yesterday. Another hard-throwing right-hander who's warming up in the bullpen for the Royals.
Yeah, they've got on the thing here that he throws close to 100, if not 100. That'll be fun tonight. Cold night.
That'll be out of play down the right field line. It remains 3 balls and 2 strikes. Adams, when he first began his career in the big leagues, he was nowhere near the pitcher he became with the San Diego Padres. He was part of a bullpen that included Heath Bell, who was dominant, and at least for a season, Trevor Hoffman. I mean, that was one of the best bullpens in baseball.
Lights out, and they had the lead.
He figured some things out. Foul ball.
You see, he went 3-0 on Escobar, and now he just come back and pumping strike after strike, saying, "I'm not going to walk it."
Out toward left field. Dominic Brown heading back toward the track. Has room. 2 outs.
He made a mistake there. He hung the slider and got away with it.
2 outs. It'll bring Billy Butler to the plate. Let's take a look at our Mazda leaders. And Billy Butler finds himself 3rd. We're tied for 2nd, I should say, behind George Brett, tied with Mike Sweeney for the 2nd highest career batting average in Kansas City history. Kevin Seitzer, who was the hitting coach here with Kansas City at one time, is to 294, and Hal McRae 293.
Who was a hitting coach here at one time on Jim Fragosi's staff.
George Brett, a lifetime .305 hitter, Hall of Famer. We talked to him yesterday with Mike Schmidt. Butler takes the first pitch a little high. It's 1-0. Billy Butler will probably not play tomorrow at first base, although Hamels is on the mound. I think if I remember correctly, Hosmer will play tomorrow, lefty on lefty. Well, Butler's handled everything over at first base tonight. changeup inside, 3-0. So he's gone 3-0 to the last 2 hitters.
You got to watch this guy, 3-0. You would think with them having a 2-run lead that he has a green light here.
Takes, and it's 3-1. Adams comes back in with what looked like it was a slider, but it's listed as a cutter up on the board. Had some little late movement on it.
Yeah, it was the same kind of pitch that they hit the deep fly ball on the last one, so maybe that's a cutter to get used to watching him. Oh, got the pitch there. And had a little movement at the end too. Down 2.
The line drive, base hit into left center field. The pitch was up a little bit, a curveball.
And he put down 2 for a breaking ball.
And Butler has his first hit of the night. Every time the Phillies retire the opposing team 1, 2, 3, and Lannon did it the first 3 innings tonight. Phillies baseball, or excuse me, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports, giving you all your favorite sports all year long. Looks like Dyson's going to pinch run for Butler over at first base, so Hosmer will come in to play first base in the bottom of the 8th inning. Gerard Dyson pinch hit in yesterday's ball game. And he can run.
And that's what they're thinking right now. Maybe steal a bag and pick up a 2-out run. If Perez gives him a chance.
Dyson has stolen as many as 39 bases in the minor leagues. Last year he stole 30 bags with the Royals. He wound up playing in 102 games. And he goes. Pitch is taken for a strike. The throw to second sails into center field, and Dyson's on his way to third. It'll be a stolen base and an error charge to Quintero.
Well, that's what they wanted, to try and get a stolen base out of it, and they get more. With 2 outs, he goes. He had a great jump. Quintero has thrown no chance for Chase Utley nor for Jimmy Rollins to be the backup guy for that one, and he coasted over to third. And just make sure you have everybody way back right now with 2 outs. Slow runner at the plate. You get to almost everything and throw him out, hopefully.
And a foul ball, one ball, 1 strike. I thought Jeff Kellogg called a strike on the first pitch. Yeah, he did. It's 0-2. He just put up 2 strikes. So no balls and 2 strikes the count. And Quintero's going to go out and talk to Mike Adams. Just make sure they're on the right page with this next pitch. Quintero's blocked everything behind the plate tonight.
Yeah, and they want to make sure they know the count too. Kellogg's continuing to put up the 2 fingers, and now the board has it.
Ground ball to third. Young backs up on it, has time. Side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. There was 1 Phillies error. We've played 7.5. The Phils will come up to the plate, down by 2. box score. Phillies are down 3-1. You take a look at what they've done tonight. Only 2 hits, one by Ben Revere, the other one by Michael Young. John Mayberry's been on base twice with a couple of walks, but again, the offense is struggling out of the gate, at least against the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, 2 hits. One of them, well, they're both singles, obviously, and one of them was off a fielder's glove. So not much offense. It's the 3rd inning of the game yesterday.
Hosmer will stay or come into the ballgame to play first base. Billy Butler was pitch run for, I should say. And the new pitcher is Kelvin Herrera. Herrera had a good year last year for the Royals. 4-3 at 2.35 ERA. So far, 2 innings of work in 2 games.
Look at the strikeouts.
Yeah, 4 strikeouts in 2 innings.
Boy, that's what everybody wants in the back end of their bullpen, are these kind of guys where nothing happens when they come in, if they're on.
His 2.35 ERA from a season ago was the best among American League pitchers with at least 80 innings, and the 4th best in the majors. And Lance Nix will pinch hit, and he fouls the first one. It's 0-1. Nix 2 for 10 so far. It'll be Nix, then Ben Revere, and Jimmy Rollins. Herrera is 23 years old. He's out of the Dominican Republic. Signed by the Royals back in 2006 as a free agent.
Boyd said that was 99. His changeup was 84. That's a significant difference.
Antonio Bastardo in the bullpen. Unless the Phillies can tie it here, Bastardo will come in. Swing and a miss. And there's one out.
That is some fastball changeup mix this guy has. My goodness. That one was 86 off of 99. 10. Look, there he is with the 3 fingers on it. Splits the 3 fingers. Seed squirting out of a great changeup. And when you're up there and just saw a 99, wow. Good arm slot for both pitches.
Ben Revere 1 for 3. His single drove home the only run. That was in the 5th inning. Elliot Johnson, the 3rd baseman, plays in on the grass, and it's 0-1.
He threw some kind of breaking ball that time.
I believe it's a curveball is what he has listed, or they have listed on the scouting report. But they also have that fastball. That one at 96 miles an hour. It's 2-1.
Just trying to get the tying run up to the plate. Ben Revere trying to get on base.
Escobar around the second base bag, throws him out. Reminder that tomorrow the Phillies and the Royals will wrap up this 3-game series, and all fans 14 and under will receive the Ryan Howard wiffle ball set, compliments of IBEW Local 98. Make your plans now. Order tickets by going to Phillies.com. Rollins is 0 for 2. Walked back in the 3rd. He's flied out to left, and he is struck out. Takes a change-up for a strike. It's 0-1. Another change-up, 0-2. Boy, he's got them guessing.
Well, when you start out throwing high 90s, and then you have that thing, you have to get started quick on it. It goes 3 straight change-ups. But as a hitter, and you watch a pitcher throw this hard, you know you have to get a trigger moving quickly. He throws a changeup way out in front of him. He's around to play with this stuff, too.
Line drive down the right field line, a foul ball.
Look like another one. Right now, Jimmy Rollins seeing all these changeup. He throws a fastball. It will look like 100.
Well, there you go. 98 miles an hour, and Rollins thought he might have cracked his bat, but it looks like it's still in one piece.
He doesn't know how it is.
He's still looking at it.
He is. That's what I'm saying. When you get jammed like that with a fastball that hard, he's thinking, I not break my bat.
I think Perez said something to him from behind the plate. Fastball swung out and missed. He went with some high heat. Strikes out 2 in the inning, and the Phillies go down in order for the 3rd consecutive inning. 10 in a row retired by Royals pitching as Herrera works a 1-2-3-8. It's time for the 9th. Citizens Bank Park Wheels. It's time for our W. Mason deliveries of the game.
Yeah, well, the Royals have thrown up the 3 runs, and they've done it with some pretty clutch hitting. That was just trying to get a runner over after the double, and they get a run in, and they got another guy over to third base. And now in the 7th inning, here's Tejada. He's trying to get somebody over. They really executed well, and he winds up not getting him only getting him over. He gets Francoeur in with the double. So those are W.B. Mason deliveries of the game. They don't look real pretty, but that was good baseball on the part of the Royals.
Antonio Bastarno will come on here in the top of the 9th inning, try to keep this at a 2-run ball game. Bastarno will face Lorenzo Cain to start it off, then Jeff Francoeur. The pitcher's spot for the Royals. Oh no, excuse me, it's Hosmer. Hosmer came in to play first base, and Herrera came in to pitch, so he's batting in 7th. So that means the pitcher's spot is the 3-hole. That's where Billy Butler was. Cain is 0 for 2, hit by a pitch in the 5th. It turned out to be a big hit by pitch. John Lannon pitched very strong tonight. He was 7 innings. He allowed 3 runs, and in that 5th inning, he hit Lorenzo Cain, and he wound up coming around to score.
John Lannon really good here.
Very good.
Didn't get backed up with me, and he got a bunt down to help get the Phillies only run. So he did his job. This guy they're going to bring in to close, Greg Holland, he only throws 94 to 98 with a split.
Check swing. Did he go? No.
Our old friend, the very excitable Rex Hudler, just came in here.
The Wonder Dog.
Between innings, yeah. The wonder is, what do you think? You think that guy could close at Herrera? Yeah, I do. Great to see Hud again. One of the good people in the game, working for the Royals now.
Foul ball, and it's 3-2 now. Lorenzo Cain.
have to keep it right where it is because you still get a runner on, and then the tying run comes to the plate.
Now there's ball 4. Keane draws a leadoff walk. A reminder that this Monday is the premiere at 5 p.m. Eastern of Phillies Sports Talk, hosted by Michael Barkan. It'll be on each and every night at 5 p.m. on Comcast Sportsnet. More energy, faster paced talk style. Each show starts with what's trending. Oh, imagine if it was this week what was trending. There's a lot of college basketball trending this past week. Phillies Sports Talk, again, 5 p.m. Eastern on Monday. Peter Laviolette, the Flyers head coach, they had a tough loss today to Winnipeg. He'll be the first guest on the show on Monday. There'll be others, of course.
But there can only be one first.
That's exactly right.
It's like an impression.
Jeff Francoeur watches as Bastardo throws over to first. Keane back without a tag from Howard. It'll be Francoeur, then Hosmer.
Starter's a guy you can run on, and whether or not they're going to. Whoops. Quintero flips one down there. Caught his attention. Whether or not they're going to run or not, we'll see. But Bastardo is slow to the plate and is a guy you could steal bags on. Has a high leg kick and a slow delivery. Looks like a throw over. Get those from the bench. Catcher gives it to the pitcher, and then he executes. It's a high fastball. Missed his spot by a lot there, but it still looked like it had a chance to be a strike.
Well, Quintero's asking Jeff Kellogg right now.
Yeah. It's like Quintero looked in there. There's Mick Billmeyer giving the signs over there to Quintero for throw over, step off, those kind of things, pitch out.
Fly ball, right center field. Ben Revere makes the catch. So 1 out here in the 9th. And Kane goes back to first.
Francoeur, a big part of this game there. Well, there's extra base hits tonight.
A couple runs scored. They've always said, even at the age of 29 now, even before this, that he's one of the best clubhouse guys in all of baseball.
He's always had a great disposition. It looked like he was going to be a real big-time star when he came up with the Braves.
He said he's a free agent at the end of this season.
He thinks he had a pitch.
Yeah,
maybe should have driven.
Here's Hosmer, first at bat of the night, 5 for 14 on the season. Takes outside and low, 1-0.
Kane was on his way back to first when Bastardo delivered that.
Back toward the middle. This might be 2. Utley flips to Rollins for 1. In time for the double play. 4-6-3. And the inning is over. So the Phils keep the Royals quiet here in the 9th inning. Their closers ready to take over as we go to the bottom of the 9th. Let's see what the Phils middle of the order can do against them. Breakdown with highlights and exclusive analysis on Pure Auto Insurance presents Phillies Post-Game Live. Again, it's coming up right after this ball game. Phillies down 3-1 here in the bottom of the 9th inning. They'll have Utley, Howard, and Michael Young. And they will face the Royals closer. It's right-hander Greg Holland. All the hard throwers the Royals have in their pen. This is the guy they lean on to close the door. 1 inning so far, 1 strikeout for Holland. He doesn't deviate too much.
Well, it says fastball, breaking ball, split.
Wheels, do you have your Oprah Winfrey sweatshirt available for tonight's game?
Is that who that is?
I think that's who it is. Well, here's Utley. Holland last year, 7-4, 67 games. He had 16 saves for the Royals. Utley 0 for 3. He's fly to left. He's grounded out. He's also struck out.
Get on base. You know what Chase Utley's going to try and do here. Holland probably figures he has a strike on the first pitch, and he gets it because he's not going to be swinging down by 2 runs.
And Chase, more often than not, does take the first pitch.
Right, especially there. Boy, that thing dove. I guess that's a split. He's one of those guys that looks like he's holding a split grip out there right now. There's what they've done out of their bullpen. That is really impressive.
It began yesterday when Wade Davis lasted only 4 innings. Began with Bruce Chen pitching a scoreless 5th. Outside and low, 2-1 to Utley. Holland is a 27-year-old who is from Asheville, North Carolina. Outside, 3-1. Last year, averaged 12 strikeouts per 9 innings of work. That's off the charts for a relief pitcher.
Yeah. That's Kimbrel-like when Kimbrel's even higher than that. Keep throwing fastballs away to Utley.
Chase takes a strike. It's 3-2.
That's good at bat. Run the count full. He's trying to get on any way possible.
Holland last year worked out of the bullpen for the Royals. He wasn't the closer until the Royals traded Jonathan Broxton to the Cincinnati Reds on the 31st of July, and that's when he saved the 16 games. Here comes the 3-2 pitch to Chase Utley. Line drive down the right field line, foul.
Missed his spot. Chase almost made him pay for it. They've been staying away, and now this one comes down and in a little bit. Man, I need to pull in the outfield, even as hard as this guy's throwing.
Outside, ball 4. That was awfully close.
How he took that. See from over there, that they know that wasn't high and it wasn't low.
Now the Phillies get the base runner. Take a look and see where this pitch was.
You can see why they won it.
That's pretty close. It was outside the way Perez caught it, just by the way he pulled the glove back.
Yeah, it was on the other side of the shin guard, and he pulled it back. Well, this is all you could hope for. You want to get the tying run up there, and you have your #1 home run threat.
Ryan Howard 0 for 3. No homers so far this year.
This guy will supply the power.
In the dirt, 1-0. Elliott Johnson, the third baseman, is playing where the shortstop would be. So he's going to take the throw at second base if there's a ball hit to the right side and they try to turn a double play.
Right, and they can throw the 3 shift on the other side, but they can't play deep because there's a runner on first. So Ryan Howard does get some advantage back, even though they have the shift on him.
Inside 2-0.
Those liners that he hit that are one hoppers to the second baseman out in right field now is a base hit. Closers are put on this earth to make managers squirm.
Doesn't matter how good they are. You think that?
Doesn't matter.
You think that Joe Torre or Joe Girardi ever score him? Oh. Mariano Rivera?
I know what Joe was chewing all the time, but he didn't squirm more than anybody because of Rivera. But there aren't many of those.
It's 2-0. Outside 3-0. Well, Ryan took earlier tonight with the count 3-0. You have to imagine he's going to take here.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you let him go down by 2?
I don't know. I think you take and you roll the dice at 3-1.
Only if it's middle in can he swing too.
Outside ball 4. The tying run is at first. And now the winning run is at the plate. Dave Eiland is going to venture out to the mound. He's the pitching coach for the Royals. Speaking of Yankees, who got a chance to watch Mariano Rivera pitch, Eiland was the Yankees pitching coach for a time. Ryan Howard's going to be pinch run for. Ezekiel Carrera will make his Phillies debut. He's going to come over and pinch run at first base, considering he's the tying run.
Right. Really interested to see what they do with their infield right now, whether they think there's any chance that Michael Young would bunt here.
Boy, that's a good point. I guess I didn't think about it because he's the 5-hole hitter, but
well, I don't think he will. But you know, they may have to respect it, and then again they may figure there's no chance. There's Eddie Rodriguez. He's going to tell them what they want the infield to do here. And they will not even think about it. They will play back and guard the line at third. Now they're going to go through the signs right now. The catcher behind home play for the middle infielders, but I wouldn't bunt Michael Young. If he hits into a double play, I still say the same thing. We're going to play him even with a bag and guard the line to third baseman.
Oh boy, that ball just ate up the catcher. He did a heck of a job keeping that around the plate.
And another reason why, in my opinion, you wouldn't bunt here is because this guy's all over the place. Why give him an out? That's that split.
1-0 the count. Utley's at second. Carrera's at first. The Phillies down by 2. They have 2 on. They haven't had a whole lot of offense in the series so far. There's a strike. It's 1-1.
There's a huge hole on the left side right now because of the fact they're cheating up the middle and playing towards the line. You see that big hole on the left side. And then as they cheat up the middle with the middle infield, there's a big hole on the right side.
Lays off. They'll appeal. No swing. This is Eric Cooper. 2-1.
Well, you're thinking fastball now. He got ahead by staying off that slider. Cut the plate in half here.
39,475. Dominic Brown waits on deck. They haven't had a whole lot to cheer about offensively since the first part of yesterday's game. The count 3-1 to Michael Young with runners on first and second. He got a fastball. It might have been up a little bit.
Probably ball 4. But he is, in his time in the American League, when he was such a great hitter, they said he was one of the best high fastball hitters you've ever seen. Now that's ball 4. But he wanted that high fastball.
Oh, that one was in a better spot.
Oh.
3-2 the count.
The guy coaching third for the Phillies right now is one of the greatest high fastball hitters you've ever seen, Ryan Sandberg. He progressed in his career. He didn't miss one. Here it is. This one's down. That one's belt high, and that would have been a strike.
Phil's down by 2, trying to get a couple runs home. Outside, ball 4. It gets away from Perez. No matter. The bases are now loaded.
Well, Perez, they decided to go with a slider there. I guess they thought he was getting good swings at his fastball after he fouled that one straight back. They decided to go with a 3-2 breaking ball that thankfully Michael Young saw was a ball the minute he threw it. That wasn't even one that you would think you would even check swing.
Well, now Dominic Brown will bat with the bases loaded. Utley at third, Carrera at second, Young at first. The tying run is out at second base.
Yeah, they can play for a double play now.
Three straight walks. And the first pitch coming to Brown. A fastball, that's in for a strike. It's 0-1.
We haven't seen Carrera, so we don't know what kind of player he is. But the one thing he has to be thinking right now is make sure he knows where the outfielders are. But if the ball's hit in the air, he has to tag up and get to third. Different rooting interests.
Both stomachs, though, are twisting up and down.
Yeah, for different reasons.
The 0-2 pitch coming to Brown. Swing and a miss. He got it.
Throwing him sliders in the dirt. A good job by Perez to block it, too.
Well, the Phillies, with 1 out now, still have the bases loaded.
Got ahead of him and buries the breaking ball. Look at this catcher. What a good job he does there.
Blocked that ball between his legs.
I mean, Brown couldn't have run to first anyway, but the runner at third could have scored, and the other guys could have moved up.
John Mayberry has been on base twice, both with walks tonight. He struck out in the 7th.
Boy, they're really going to guard the line now at third.
Leaves a hole open at shortstop, particularly with Escobar in a little bit at short.
Surprising, really, as hard as this guy throws. You know, a lot of teams just play the percentage and they don't want to get beaten with a ball down the line. That is the winning run at third, and that's another reason why they're going to do it. Although it's hard to score from first a lot of times in this park when balls down the line. First 3 guys really worked this guy, and then Brown, young player, he got really impatient. And that's what you hope Mayberry won't do here.
One and one the count to Mayberry. Kevin Franzen is out on deck.
Just late. This pitch is away, and he's in pull mode. Look where his hips are. And he's late, and it's way out. I don't know if it's outside, but you can't get to it opening up like that.
Strike 3.
It's like an old Mitch Williams game. Walk the bases loaded and then try to strike everybody out.
Well, now 2 outs. Kevin Franzen will pinch hit for Humberto Quintero. Well, Franzen is 1 for 1 as a pinch hitter this year. He hasn't started a ball game. You can see his numbers from last year. 3rd highest average in the National League from the All-Star break on. The bases loaded, Phillies down 2. And Franzen lines one toward right center field. That's going to split the gap and go to the wall. 1 run scores. Here comes Carrera. He'll score. They're waving Michael Young home. The throw to the plate. The Phillies have won it. Kevin Franzen comes off the bench and shoots a 3-run double into the gap in right center field. And the Phillies come from behind and they win it 4-3.
Well, that's what we've been looking for. Somebody else. Somebody in the white suits clear the bases with a hit.
And it couldn't happen to a better guy.
Boy, he'd go up there and look for a fastball and nail it, too. It was fun to see those 2 guys and his buddies leaving. Great job by Kevin Franzen. You said one of the really good guys in this club. Really a valuable player. Great job by Michael Young, too, and a good job by Sandberg to wave him around.
Well, give him a double and give him 3 RBIs, and the Phillies win it 4-3. He sat in the cold all night to earn the Chevy Player of the Game honors.
How long have we been pleading? Somebody get an extra base hit. And what an extra base hit that was, Tommy.
Well, Kevin Franzen is trying to catch his breath. So, Murph, make it a long first question so he can catch his breath.
I will allow him to catch his breath just a little bit, but... well, Kevin, it looked like you went up there looking for a fastball, and you got one you liked right away.
Yeah, I don't know. Chase and Howie started off that inning great. Same with Mikey having a great at-bat. So, he's seen a pinch hitter come up with the bases loaded. Of course, he's going to go with his best pitch, and, I was able to beat him on that, and we got a win.
We talk about pinch hitting and how difficult of a job it is. You sit here all game long waiting for one opportunity to do what you just did. It's one of the most difficult jobs in baseball, is it not?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm in the cage, I'm out and watching the game, doing everything I can, and, just getting prepared for that. Really, as a pinch hitter, you got one pitch, and you got to be able to do something with it, so I got fortunate.
Winning a game like this where you only had 3 hits, the third one being yours here in the bottom of the 9th inning with 2 outs, how important is it especially early in the season where the offense is still finding its way?
John, it's great. Anytime we get a win, that's all we want to do is get a win, and John pitched unbelievable tonight. Everyone that came in, Mikey and then Bastardo, they held it down. John, for the first outing as a Philly, that was unbelievable, and all credit to him. He gave us 7 great innings of that right, sir. So it's great.
All right, go enjoy it with your teammates. Catch your breath. Guys, back upstairs.
Murphy was trying to catch his breath the entire interview, but he'll take the ecstasy after this game-winning double. He splits the gap. I'm surprised Francoeur didn't take it off the wall. He's got the better arm, although Kane's throw was a good one, and the exchange was just not in time. Michael Young put himself in position to score the winning run with a perfect slide. And everything that was quiet early on in this ball game finally came to life as the offense picked up the only extra base hit they would need on the night.
That's why this sport is so amazing that things that can happen with 2 outs in the 9th inning.
Look at this shot. The guy on the left, his stomach was turning the entire inning. Same with the guy on the right. But the guy on the right had nothing to celebrate about.
The guy on the right thought, I got this one. No, you don't.
First walk-off win of the year for the Phils, thanks to Kevin Franzen. They win it 4-3. We'll be back to talk more about it right after this from Citizens Bank Park.